Welcome to another edition of Cambridge Inside Out. I'm Robert Winters.
And I'm Judy Nathans.
So, what's been happening around town here,
boy,
Judy?
yeah, I think there was an election last week.
What?
Yeah.
What? Why didn't they tell me?
Mr. Politics.
Mr.
Yeah.
Politics, that's my new name, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting week last Tuesday.
Yes.
We did our program here from 5:30 to 6:30.
Right.
Which I foolishly thought was going to be just a little warm-up for another hour and a half or two over at the Senior Center for the Cambridge election count. And in fact, it was 4 hours, I believe.
Yeah, they didn't get those. I've never been there before. It's very exciting to see those boxes come in, but they were coming in kind of late. The ballot
They
boxes.
sure were. The ballots were coming in late, and then even
Yeah.
after they got everything in,
Then they had to set it all
just
up.
went way.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, they really could have and should have done things a little bit more efficiently, but, you know, I'm not going to be too critical of it. I mean, it's a complicated thing, no matter how you slice it. But yeah, we didn't actually get election results until we were hoping, we said anywhere like at least no sooner than 10 o'clock, maybe if we're lucky 10:30.
Right,
but
but
in fact,
it wasn't really till after that.
it was,
yeah.
I think, after 11:30 before
What-
we
well,
actually got it.
Maybe quarter of 11. I don't know. It seemed
Yeah,
to me
it was-
I
it
got
was
home by
11.
11:30. I don't know, but
Actually,
it was
the program, we were closing down the show at
I
mid-
left. You were still talking.
we-
Yes,
we-
sure.
We closed it down at
You
midnight.
and Susanna were still
Yeah.
talking. Oh, at midnight. Oh, wait, you're right.
Yeah, it
you're
went
right,
till
because I
midnight.
left
Yeah,
right
yeah.
before it was closed down. So
Yeah,
I
it was-
got back late.
You know, it was fun in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, but you know, it's also a lot of tension, and
Yes.
you know, elections also
Yes.
involve people winning and losing.
Yes.
So you even if you're not a candidate, you sort of
Right.
you kind of, if you have any empathy whatsoever,
Yeah.
you sort of feel
Yeah.
the tension and the nervousness, and not just from the candidates, but also
Yeah.
from their supporters. You know, it can be pretty. It can really be something.
Do you have any observations right after? I left, but like when the camera was off, did anyone come up to you after? Any of the candidates, the ones that I don't know if the ones that had lost were there, but
You know, I think mostly it was the people who were really worried about losing usually don't show up.
well, that's a
They'll
good
wait
point.
until they hear the result,
Yeah.
and they might be someplace not far, and then they'll come
They have their
over.
own, yeah.
Because
right.
it's just too hard.
Right.
So there were some who were close, who were there, bravely there,
Yeah.
and then when they were relieved, then
Yeah.
we got to talk a little bit, but not very much. You get to overhear some of the candidates when the reporters are coming up to them, and sort of they start spouting off about my brilliance and my system that we're going to do. That one candidate was going
so
on
there were
about.
a lot of report.
Oh yeah, my campaign strategy was so wonderful that we could export it to other planets to elect
Somebody didn't
other
say
civil.
that. You
Well,
heard that?
it was
Oh, dear.
effectively saying that. Yeah,
Okay.
It was,
all
that's
right.
a little
okay.
bit of puffery there. Yes.
All right.
So that was something. So we're going to talk a little bit about elections. I'm going to say in advance that one of the things that I guess I'm kind of known for is getting all the ballot data and grinding out some numbers and figures and whatever. So we don't have that yet. And
No.
the reason is the way the election system works is according to federal law, it ain't over until they account for the overseas absentee ballots and provisional ballots, which are few. There may
What's
be.
the difference between provisional? Oh, people that maybe were in a different ward or something?
Yeah, it can be several things. The overseas absentee ballots are somewhat self-explanatory. They just have to wait as long as they were postmarked by election day.
Don't they know how many they issued though?
They do, and so they should know, and so I'm
Yeah.
sure they know the number
Yeah.
now. I
Right.
haven't asked.
Okay.
But there are also provisionals. It's it can be. I think from the last election, it was some people who voted. They showed up to vote where they
Right.
used to, where they
Right.
had moved to,
Uh-huh.
but they really were
In the
now
wrong
should have been
place.
voting
Okay.
in one place.
So that's a provisional.
Yeah, if somebody's able-bodied, they might just say, well, why don't you just hop on your bike and go over to 6-1 and vote? And then they'll go, okay, and
Not
they'll
if
do
it's
it.
6:30 or 7
If it's
o'clock and it's
6:30 or
dark.
7, or if somebody's
Yeah.
somewhat, a little bit more
Right.
physically challenged,
Right.
they may say, fine, okay, we'll do this and we'll
Oh,
handle
I
it.
see. So that's the provisional.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This also could happen if somebody says, I really am a registered voter, and they go, well, I'm sorry, man, but you're not on our list.
So they
th-
challenge that.
Yeah. So the thing is, you can vote I think that might be what they call an escrow ballot,
Okay.
but I could be wrong on that.
All right.
I know
But they would let them vote and then mark that
Yeah,
to check on the
right,
registration.
they won't count it, they won't put it in the scanner yet because we don't know
Right.
whether it's valid.
Right,
And then,
right.
and then there'll be some process, and then what happens this Friday, on the Friday the 13th, is they'll adjudicate these various
Yeah, I saw that in
ballots.
schedule. Now, is that public?
That is a public meeting, but I will tell you that because the election results are all over by then, and
Yeah.
this year the margins are such that there's absolutely no chance
That
there'll be-
anybody, it could change.
No, the results are not going to change. So it's a completely boring event, but of course I go there.
You'll be good.
Yeah, I mean I go there for a number of reasons,
Yeah.
but
Hopefully they'll give you some data after that.
though that's been the tradition. So
Yeah.
my expectation is that once the election is completely finalized, then there's no reason to withhold the data, and then we can get the data, and then
Right.
I can grind out results and share it with people.
Okay.
Usually what I do is I'll actually, since I have the tabulation software myself, I'll actually rerun the election myself.
Uh-huh.
Just
Oh,
to,
wow.
I do that as a test once I get all the
Your
ballots
computer
in.
can handle all that? Don't you need
Any-
like a giant thing?
You could
No?
do it on your watch.
Oh,
Believe me.
No, come on, really?
You could do it on your watch. It's well, anything that's JavaScript enabled can actually run the tabulation software.
Huh.
So
Fascinating.
typically we run it on a PC. So,
Yeah,
but I
okay.
believe in principle it could run on other things as well.
Mhm.
I don't think you could run it on a parking meter,
Ah,
but we
okay.
can check,
All
or maybe
right.
not,
Or an iPhone.
or an
Okay.
iPhone. No, I don't think I think so.
Well, if it's gonna be run on a watch, it could be run on an iPhone. I don't
Well,
know.
seriously, run it on a computer.
Seriously, computer. Okay.
So you have to be able to feed text files in and interpret
Right,
them and whatever.
right.
But it's the entire tabulation takes about a second.
Unbelievable.
And so anyway, so I'll do that as a test just to make sure all the ballots are exactly
Yeah.
order, stacked in the correct orders and make sure everything's right. Then I can start doing all sorts of what if scenarios. I can
Especially
determine.
the ward counts, because that was not available.
Well,
right? How many people voted in each ward?
there's really no reason why that couldn't have been made
Yeah.
available, even
It's
if
too
it was
bad.
just a preliminary result.
Yeah.
I think it was just sort of a breakdown in procedures from my very good friends at the Cambridge Election Commission.
Yes.
Let me be clear
Remain
about that.
good friends.
We remain good friends. But I think they need to be a little
Yeah.
clearer about that because it's information that would be helpful.
Yeah.
And I think it played a big role. In my personal opinion is that the voter
Sure.
turnout and disparate voter turnout in different parts
Right.
of the city
Right.
played a significant role in who was and who was not elected. That's
I think you're right.
my feeling about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll talk a little bit about elections. So one thing I wanted to say just right away, I hope I have got it sitting right here.
What? What is it? I have some stuff. But
Yeah,
what are you
I
looking
was
for?
just going to say something. Oh, here it is, quick. Is that, this is November 10th.
Oh, yes.
And tomorrow is Veterans Day. City
Yes.
offices are closed, so feel free to park anywhere you please
Right.
without putting
And
any
Boston,
money in the
too.
meter.
Yeah, not just
And
Cambridge,
Boston
yeah.
as well. I think it's technically a state holiday. So.
Yes.
But
Everything's
the thing
closed.
is that something that, I certainly need to go. You probably won't be able to see that
No.
here, but I'll just say what it is I'm holding up here is that the Cambridge Veterans Organization and the Cambridge Veterans Department do hold a Veterans Day observance up at the Cambridge Cemetery
Yes.
tomorrow morning starting at 11 a.m. Followed by a collation at American Legion Post at Gary's Landing. It's important to say Gary's
Yes. It's
Landing.
next to the Cambridge Boat Club
Next to the Cambridge Boat Club.
and
right.
Buckingham Browns and
And
Nichols
it's at
Boathouse.
and this is the same Gary, Elbridge Gary, former Vice President of the U.S.
That's where that name came from.
and the inventor of the Gerrymander.
Oh, I thought it was gerrymander.
No, it actually should be called
Oh my
gerrymandering.
goodness, I
People
didn't
over
know
time
that.
they've called it gerrymandering, but
But it's
named
gerrymandering.
it's named
'cause it's
after a
named
Cambridge
Gary.
resident, Elbridge Gary.
But there's such bad stuff about gerrymandering.
Yeah,
I mean, isn't there? Like it's abused.
the
or-
history. I should show
Yeah.
the photo. It was what
Yeah.
happened was there was, and it's sort of ironic that in
Yeah.
Cambridge it uses proportional representation,
Yes.
which is a mechanism for avoiding
For avoiding
gerrymandered
that,
districts.
right.
We were where it was invented.
Yeah.
we're the innovators.
Can you quickly define that?
The
gerrymander?
gerrymander came about because there was a district for the State House, one of the rep districts, or maybe it was a congressional district, I don't remember. But it was designed in such a way that it actually went all the way from, I think, like Peabody and wrapped around the city.
Oh my
Came
goodness.
all the way around and it was an early design to make sure that, I think it was at the time the Republicans had control of the legislature. All right, so back then, the governor, I think, had some strong hand in how these were drawn.
What year was this?
It was in the very early
Okay.
1800s,
All right.
I believe. Because I think Gary was vice president around the time of Jefferson. I mean, it was very early. So they drew a district that was this elongated thing, and the newspaper man referred to it as Governor Gary's salamander.
Huh.
And then
Wow.
people just started shortening that and called, instead of saying Governor Gary's salamander, it simply became the Garymander.
Oh my goodness.
that's
So
the
he was a
history.
Republican.
I believe that's right. I should double check these things,
Okay.
and I'm
'Cause it tends to be associated with, at least these days, with Republicans trying to
They all do it.
disenfranchise.
they have
all do it?
no. The Garymander district is something that all parties have done ever since they figured out that they could do it.
Ah.
And sadly, requirements about compact districts are not so strong. The Supreme Court actually has said, oh yeah, if you want to arrange it for purely political reasons, that's not necessarily illegal.
Oh my goodness.
But you can't do it for like purely racial reasons or purely this or purely that.
Seriously, they consider political reasons different from racial reasons.
Well, actually, there
That's-
are places, I think, in California where they actually have more of an impartial way of determining districts, which really, honestly, is the way things should go.
Yeah.
But anyway, Gary's Landing, next to
Okay,
Hell's
so
Half Acre.
Veterans Day. Yeah, I went one year and it was quite moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another quick announcement here before we start obsessing on elections, you know, my bread and butter, I suppose, is that this Saturday, over by North Point Park, by the new North Bank Bridge, which connects Cambridge, Charlestown.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This sort of the culmination of something that's been in the works
yeah.
for a long, long time. It was an idea expressed by Nancy Schoen, I think is how it's pronounced, the sculptor who made the ducklings for the Make-Believe for Ducklings.
Yes.
And I remember sitting at a table with her at a meeting, and she says, "We've got to do something for the kids. You know, we need to put in a skate park." And then the people rode with this, and the Charles River Conservancy people really took charge, and they made it happen. I think a lot of money got donated. There was a lot of support from the state and elsewhere. So this Saturday, starting at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the new skate park, right
And
on.
where is that?
It's right under where the Zachem Bridge is.
That's what is it? You know that new bikeway or
The
walkway?
bikeway, that's the North Bank Bridge. It's right next to it.
Is it underneath it or right next to it?
It's right
'Cause
next to it.
I've seen kids
It's-
on this,
Yeah, it's right next to it. It's brand new.
but it's been used already.
No.
Then
There's another beautiful park there with a lot of other facilities,
okay, so
but
this
the
is
skate park is very specific.
so this is under the Zachem Bridge.
Pretty much, it's actually under. There's the Zachem Bridge. It's actually the Zachem Bridge proper is just a little pushed toward Charlestown, so it's a little bit on the other side. It's
Okay.
where some of the loop ramps are.
And how would you get there if you say bicycled?
What you do is you just go in a museum way, right across from the Museum of Science, and that's the entryway. And you go into there where the big park is, right at the point in there, and just walk right on through toward the bridge, and there you are. You'll be right there,
Okay.
very close to the EF education building. Education
Oh, well, I know
Foundation.
where that is.
Yeah, it's right in there.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's fabulous, and ought to be world class. I think a skateboarding champion, like a world champ, is going to be kind of master of ceremonies.
So that's
I told some of my
Saturday, 10
MIT students who skateboard to class about it, so I think a whole dorm is going over there.
So the speaking, is from 10 to 11.
Speaking is 10 to 11, but then
activities 10
they'll
to 3.
have skateboarding from then until about 3 p.m. And they'll
Boy, I'll
sort of clean
avoid
up after
that.
that.
Okay,
I'm going.
With your skateboard?
Well, I did
Yeah.
it just for laughs. I actually had my skateboard from when I was a kid. When it was
No
really,
way.
it was basically a board with
Oh my goodness.
with skating
with roller skates.
with
I know,
roller
with
skate
the,
wheels on
the
it.
old fashioned skates.
So I have my original. I brought it in for my students
Oh,
to
that's
see,
funny.
and they said, "Whoa, cool!" And then he tried
That's
to ride
funny.
it, and he couldn't ride. It fell right off.
Yeah, to me it would be like snowboarding.
They were primitive. I was thinking I
Yes.
should bring my skateboard to this event.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's coming up.
That's fun.
There's some other things happening around town more on the civic level. I think
What's this?
Thursday, there's an ordinance committee meeting at 5:30 dealing with, I believe this is having to do with the
Petition?
Volpe Center site. This has
Oh,
been an
that's
ongoing
been-
thing. They're trying to
yes.
craft what the right zoning should be for the Volpe site to encourage housing, but to also make the whole project They are built on federal land, feasible. So the Volpe transportation people got to get their new building. There has to be a certain amount of development to pay for it all and to also cover the cost of building housing.
So is the government still involved with that? It's still federally owned?
Still federally owned, but there's a provision in federal law that allows for the disposition of the property as long as the money that's generated from that basically covers the cost of reconstructing a new building for the federal
I see.
or sort of quasi-federal agency, which is the Volpe Transportation Center. So that's then. And then Friday at actually at 4:30, I think it's at 4:30 is when the Cambridge Election Commission basically does the last round.
So late in the day, why is that?
I think they just want to end the day. It's sort of it has to be 10 days, so this is at the end of the 10 days after election day, and then they'll finalize the count. No, the meeting really is
tabulate. I see.
Well, they have to adjudicate. They have to say, is this a valid ballot? No, we can't allow this one, but we can allow that one.
Okay.
So they do that, and then they run the count, and then we'll all be done. So
you stay for all of that, huh?
Yeah, I'm often in matters such as this. I'm often the last man standing.
Okay.
It's absolutely true. So,
all right.
So anyway, we got another 45 minutes with this, and then the following half hour we can talk a little bit about elections. So,
another 4 or 5. I thought you said another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, at some point maybe we can queue up the unofficial tally. I have it linked
Yes,
off my
I think
website.
in the break, so I don't
we
look
can
down
do it
at
then.
the computer the whole
Yeah,
time.
but basically, we announced these. Certainly, many people who are watching this program probably already know the results of the election, who won, who lost. And we could sort of maybe say a few quick things about that.
But the big surprise is that I think we can go into in the next segment.
Yeah, we can definitely go into that.
But we could mention that.
Yeah, so and we'll get into sort of the real nitty gritty in the next half hour here. But basically, the winners. It's basically on the city council side, as one might expect. Most of the incumbents, all but one of the incumbents, are reelected.
Right.
I mean, the order of election, how well they did in terms of number one votes, when they, exactly what process they were elected in, that kind of moved around a little bit. But other than that, it was basically 8 of the 9 incumbents were elected. The only change was Vice Mayor Dennis Benzan was the incumbent who was defeated.
And he was a first timer too, right?
That's right. So he was a first timer, and the one challenger who was elected was Jan Devereaux. Right. So it's kind of a trade. We traded one player from the Area 4 Central Square area for a player on the western edge of town.
Right.
So, but other than that, it was all 8. And I think 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, Dennis Carlone was the last person elected, and the last person defeated was Minka van Buzicum. This year, the last person elected was Dennis Carlone, and the last person defeated was Minka van Buzicum. So many things.
It wasn't Dennis.
No. What happened was in the preliminary, kind of a curiosity.
Yeah, that's
in the way
confusing
things
to me.
went, and again, we'll sort of show this graphically.
Yeah.
Is that order of election can matter a bit because I'll just sort of say it.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the wrong thing here. Oops.
Right. Is this?
Oh yeah, I should say actually the total voter turnout was, strange as it may seem, was almost identical.
Right.
To, in fact, I confused myself this afternoon because it turns out the number of people who voted 2 years ago in the city council race was exactly the same number of people who voted in the school committee race this year.
Oh, that is
strange. So I got crossed up. I thought, well, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong piece of paper here.
That is interesting.
That was weird, but it was about 100 more people, total voters, out of 17,000. Let's see, in 17 years. So it was total ballots was
17.
Oh, this is the preliminary one in here.
Yeah.
So in the unofficial one, there were for city council there were a total number of people voted was 17.
Is that it?
Well, actually, there's the valid votes and then there's the invalid votes.
There were about 100 of those, I think.
Yeah, about 105. So there was 17,846. Well, there'll probably be maybe 5 or 6 more ballots this Friday. Not the overseas absentees and the escrows, whatever. But as it stands right now, it was 17,846 valid ballots cast. So that translates into a 1,785 votes is quota, because approximately 1/10.
Right.
105 invalid ballots for a total of 17,951. So remember that number, 17,951?
Okay.
In 2013, it was 17,000, oops, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It was 70, well, it was basically 100 less. So it was a very, very small change.
And how many
total.
registered voters are there?
Well, that's a tricky thing, because
Yeah.
number of total registered voters is probably in the 60,000 plus range.
But don't you have to re-up that, like this, when they give out the census, don't they
They
say
do,
you have
they
to
do, and so
fill out the census to keep registered?
yeah. So if somebody reports the turnout in terms of percentages,
Uh-huh.
it'll look like the turnout went way up because 2 years ago, because of the proximity to the presidential election, we had
Oh,
over
right.
70,000 registered voters. Many of them were
Ah.
inactive; they weren't really here, but
I see.
they had to leave them on the registered voter
I
roll
see.
because the state law mandates that.
Huh.
So when 17,800-ish
Yeah,
so
seems
people come out to
dismal.
vote,
Yeah.
out of out
70
of
or
70,000, it's a very low percentage.
Even
So
if it was 40, it's low. I mean, it's not
it
even
is low, yeah.
50%.
Yeah, I know. That's actually part of the dynamics of the election, because
Yeah.
if you have a lot of people who are actually not voting, then if you build a bit of a political machine to sort of go out and
You
get
could
them,
just get the vote
then they're there.
because you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that
That's
people
it.
aren't voting. So
Yeah, and in Cambridge, and it's not so easy to get them to come out. I mean, there are
No.
certain parts of the city that tend to vote in numbers. Believe me, I'm dying to see the ward
Yeah.
and precinct data.
yes,
Because thing is, there are some of the wards like Ward 9, 9-1, 9-2, and 9-3 tend to vote in very high numbers. Some or all of the Ward 11 precincts, certainly 11-1, 11-2, tend to vote in high numbers. And the basic shift in the elections may very well be as much a part of whether a higher percentage of people came out of those high-performing
Right.
wards,
Right.
and if a lower percentage of people,
Right.
came out in some of the lower performing ones. So that would be the reason why
sure.
you instead have a new counselor from Ward 9,
Right.
and you lose one from Ward 3 and 4 down
Yeah.
around Area 4.
Right.
Now, this is not to discount the individual campaigns that people ran or
No.
the issues they ran around. It's just
Right.
that ultimately the elections are won or lost based on getting your people to come out and vote.
That's right.
And, actually I was just at a meeting just now here in Central Square where people were kind of bemoaning the fact that some of the people sort of should have shake the bushes, bring out the voters for Dennis Benzan really didn't do it in the numbers they should have. He spent a lot of money.
He
spent,
did, yeah.
Spent more than anybody.
More on print stuff? Or?
Yeah, maybe so, but
Yeah.
but the thing is that unless you're out there shaking the bushes and bringing the actual people out and getting them to vote, and again, there were other challenges as well, but that's really what's going to.
Okay, I'm going to ask a very naive question because I don't know the answer. Are you allowed to use raised money for a campaign to pay people to go out and knock on doors?
You can do it, and I'll tell you, that's this speaking personally, one of the things I find more and more disturbing with every passing election is
Yeah.
the degree to which people are buying their elections. And I don't mean, like some people said, the big evil developers are writing $1,000 checks to buy
You mean
elections.
just being able to hire people?
Yeah, I mean, what's happening is that candidates are basically just writing a check for $10,000 to one of these, election companies who are basically putting together your literature, doing all your mailings,
Do you know,
hiring phone
so
banks.
that's easy to find out who did that?
Yeah, it's all in the campaign finance report. So bunches of them are doing that. I
Were
think,
they winners?
Typically, yes. Typically, yes. So it's like,
So then maybe someone didn't spend their money right.
well, I think that's part of it.
I don't know. I mean,
It's part
you
of
could
it.
argue that that's not a great method, but
I come out of a time and a
Yeah.
tradition when
all
when somebody was
volunteers.
canvassing for their candidate. I mean,
yes.
they were volunteers,
Yeah,
guaranteed,
yeah.
and they were knocking on doors and distributing
It's
literature
true.
and
I
whatever.
didn't get paid when I campaigned for
There
Hillary.
were candidates who were spending $10,000 or more on canvassers. They were paying people to do it.
This
And-
is back in the day? Or?
No, this is this year.
Okay, all right.
Right now,
well,
this is
I
not
know
how
we
it
can't
used to
name
be.
names, but
Well,
maybe off the
not yet,
camera
not yet.
I'll ask you.
Over time,
Okay.
perhaps, maybe we will.
But yeah, that is like buying an election, but
Yeah,
hopefully people see the difference.
well, I don't know that they do, because there's one candidate who portrays himself as Mr. Grassroots, who basically pays more for paid canvassers than anybody else. You know, so there's a little truth and there's a little fiction going on here.
All right.
You know, so, but anyway, when I see how much money is being doled out for
Yes.
professional managers running these things here and how.
And that's all public knowledge.
It's all public knowledge,
All right,
absolutely.
well, we have to get that down somewhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's a little disturbing to see,
Yeah.
but you know, ultimately, the only thing that really matters, I mean, yeah, we can all feel good or bad for individual candidates, but do the people of the city get their representation?
Right.
You know, to some degree, if I have to be represented by candidate A or candidate B, well, maybe candidate B is not happy because he didn't win and candidate A is, but as long as candidate A can represent me,
Right.
I'm okay.
Then you're still being
Yeah.
represented.
yeah, so I mean, the person who feels the harm is the candidate, but
Right.
but ultimately the thing that matters the most are the people, and that they get their representation.
And you still have to vote, even if it was a paid canvasser. If something they said convinced you, unless they were completely lying, then you did vote
Yes,
that way or didn't vote. So
exactly.
they can't make, they don't vote for you. So
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. But again, it's sort of I
Yeah.
guess maybe
No,
I'm just
I-
nostalgic for the good
well,
old days.
then maybe campaign limits. You're not supposed to spend. I mean, no one likes that. I mean,
Well,
in the
this-
presidential, it never goes over well. Didn't
But-
Obama say no to that back in the day?
I don't know. But
I think he did. And when Kane wanted to set limits, he said no.
well, the thing is that
Yeah,
even if
because
you
he
try
was-
to set
I
limits,
know.
I think the Supreme Court ultimately says no go anyway.
Yeah, but
So,
I don't know. On local election, I'd like to see that. Frankly, can't spend more than 20,000.
I
Can't raise more than 20,000.
yeah, you know, but the thing is, it becomes really a question then of limitations on speech.
How is that limitations on speech? The
Yeah,
forms
ask
are
this-
free. You don't pay for those.
Ask the Supreme Court.
But if everybody's on the same level,
I know, but you
All
know,
right, well,
the thing is money is
think we have
deemed
to-
as speech. So anyway, we're down to our last 20
yes.
seconds for this.
So there's
and-
lots to talk about. We'll get some stuff queued up on the computer in the few minutes we have.
Yeah,
between.
yeah, and we,
So I
so
don't
we'll,
look-
we'll geek out. Of course,
We'll geek out.
this is like pre-geek because next week I'll have data and then we'll
Oh,
really geek out.
you won't ever see us. You just see stuff
That's
on the
right.
screen, which is
So,
good. I
all
like
right.
that.
So see you in a
Okay.
few minutes.
All right.
Until then, see ya.
Bye-bye.